Welcome back to the Pitch Pod. I'm your host, Jeff Stebbins. With me, as always, my co-host, Joe. And, I've been thinking a lot about some recent drama with Ronaldo and maybe a lack of class, if you will. And I'm lucky enough to have a co-host who is the perfect example of an individual having high class. And so I'm joined with Joe Janner, a.k.a. Joey Class tonight, everybody.
Wow, thank you, Jeff. I wasn't quite sure where you were going with that, and I'm really glad that it came back full circle. And yes, that's actually a very both personal and professional compliment that I appreciate. Much respect for that. Thank you, Jeff. Glad to be here as always.
Absolutely. We've been having a whole bunch of great matches, some real excitement on the pitch, and there's so many things happening, so much excitement. We had multiple teams going into PKs, but can you kind of break down that Morocco-Spain game that we were looking at previously?
That's a tough one. That was, again, I think where we left off last episode, literally flying the flag, if you will, and being a spectator and watching that. It was tough to see a Spanish side that, again, knowing what they were going to do, went into the contest. We saw it there. It just didn't have enough to the effect that we're looking at a 0-0 draw at the end of regulation. We're going to extra time. Still zeros. We're going to a penalty kick shootout. And 0 there. Nada. As far as being able to convert at the penalty spot to lose to Morocco and penalties to find themselves out of the tournament. Disappointing. I mean, I think way off as far as my prediction goes. I had them winning 3-1. Thought that there was going to be more creativity in a sense of finding means and way to go about creating chances to score goals. But clearly from this, they were set almost to a point of, well, we're going to do this. We're going to be patient. I respected that. Talk about class. I respected the idea of sticking with their plan and doing what they're going to do, but there had to have been more. Really, I mean, at that level, plan B, plan C, we've talked about this before. Good teams can do more than just operate and perform in one single way, and it just didn't happen. At no point in time were they ever looking that they were going to try something different, and too little, too late. And then I guess clearly this is where maybe it's getting harsh. Luis Enrique clearly did not get the memo about the late substitution idea of putting on somebody and then putting them on the spot to kick. Missed it, hits the post. And I almost knew from that point, Jeff, to tell you the truth. I almost knew that when Spain missed their first one, the ball at the post, it wasn't their day, and then Morocco would win. But that's pretty much my take on that loss. Again, though, you got hats off to Morocco as an underdog to go on through representing both their own nation and the continent of Africa. So much props to them.
Yeah, I think I had Spain winning as well. I think most people did. But I think the one takeaway that we got from that is you do not want to go into a shootout with Morocco. So hats off to their keep. I mean, how many saves did he make? I think 3 spectacular saves in that PK shootout alone. So hats off to him. And Spain had a great tournament, but this is just not their year, apparently. Yeah. Going back to Clash and my compliment to you, right? There's been some more drama with the guy we've mentioned, and we've talked about this issue before in the Premier League, and it seems to be kind of repeating itself. And for those that aren't aware, Cristiano Ronaldo, formerly of the Premier team Manchester United, and currently starring for Portugal, he got called off the field earlier than he would have liked by his coach. He had a few words to say as he was coming off, took his time coming off very slowly, kind of chirped a little bit at the opposing team. I think he actually silenced him with the and I don't know if that's showing class coming off the field, taking your time and kind of almost drawing and asking for attention instead of being supportive of your team and doing what your coach is asking of you. So that issue that we have talked about before that is kind of plaguing him in the Premier League, it seems like it popped right back up. So what's your take on that?
I think you have the part that you mentioned there, the idea that this is a person or an individual player that has a focus on themselves or is looking to have the focus on them. I think that says it all. I think that's what we've always been looking at. And there's two sides of the coin. You want a player at that level that performs there to be the guy in a sense, but when they take it too far and become the only guy in a sense that they only want the attention on themselves, it could be very detrimental to a team environment. And whether it be the managers, whether it be his other teammates or those else in the organization, those are tough conversations that need to be had early and often about how you go about dealing with that dynamic of someone that is the star. So I think in all this, I don't want it to be misunderstood. Ronaldo's a star, has been for many years. And in some sense, I'm not saying he gets a pass or has gotten a pass, but there also is a line, I think, and that's, Jeff, I think that's what we're talking about. Just too many times crossing the line where it's the Ronaldo show and it's nothing else. And that's not how, as a team, you win. And you would think that he'd want to be a part of something that's a winner rather than just a part of himself. But time will tell, really, I think, is the rest of the story. And I don't know if you've gotten to it or wanted to lead into the idea that him being picked up by a Saudi Arabian club or being, potentially brought on for a multitude of millions of US dollars. But I think going back to the idea of class and how he presents himself, I think it presents a little bit of a detriment to his class. We'll just use that word there and move on.
Yeah. And another question to ask and think about is, is Portugal better with him not starting? Because as we saw in the last game, Ramos filling in for him with a hat trick. It seems like they did okay without him. And so that's the question we have to ask. Maybe age is catching up to the star, as it will, right? I think we see that with Messi. He's still Magic Messi, but maybe not as magical as he once was. I'll put it that way. So I think they're both still great players, some of the best all time, but age catches up to everybody. And I think Ronaldo's having a lot of trouble coming to terms with that, and is probably frustrated with himself at times more than anything else. So it's kind of interesting seeing that play out on the world stage with one of the best athletes. So I think there's a whole bunch of things going on. Hopefully it works out. And I will say this, the last match in which he did not get the start, it looks like he was being supportive of his team. So he's got room to grow, and hopefully he'll mature as a player and a person and kind of show that class that hopefully the young people watching will appreciate.
I think the last bit there is what I like to hear more. So they think there are others watching that are influenced by his behaviors, and maybe that's the message. I wonder if he would be the type of person to understand that message, or if it even matters. And maybe we are dealing with somebody that doesn't care so much or doesn't quite understand, have the grasp of the influence that him as a player and his persona in this world sport has over so many people. So if I was maybe to ask him the question, that would maybe be the one I would want to know from him. Does he recognize his influence over, we'll just say it, the youth players that are out there watching him and seeing how he performs and how he acts?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure he's still going to have a lot of interest from clubs. He's a big name and a big ticket seller. So I'm sure Inter Miami would love to have him, and U.S. fans would go crazy to see him. So I'm not saying to stay away from him from a business perspective by any means. I'd be all over that. But anyways, I'm sure we'll come back to this. We'll kind of see how things play out and the other leagues post-World Cup and see how he does the rest of the tournament. But looking ahead, we got some big games coming up, and the one that we've chosen to focus on is one of the more competitive ones. We have England v. France. Joe, will you give us a preview of that?
I think it's one that we had penciled in from early on in the tournament. I think a lot of people, based on the way that the groups were set and predictions and ideas about how it would work itself out to this point. I think a lot of people saw and looked ahead to see this match as a potential. And then here we are looking at this. One, very exciting to see these two countries who, obviously for historical purposes, not only on the football field, but in the larger realm of the world, are competitive and have their rivalry, if you will. So I think that adds to it, which, then now you're in a World Cup setting in a quarterfinal getting to play two really good teams with a lot of superstar players. And I think this is one, again, that people have highlighted or circled or penciled in, however you want to phrase it, as a match that they've been looking forward to in this tournament. So I'm excited. Jeff, I think everybody else that's listening, and yourself included.
Oh, absolutely. This is one of the games I'm most excited about. I've been waiting for this game. The number 4 ranked team versus the number 5 ranked team in the world. We have Kane and his experience going against Mbappe and his talent and youth and athleticism. So I think it's going to be a great match. I think Giroud's going to have a big game as well for France. England's solid all around. Defensively, they're solid. So I think it's going to be a really close match for all 90 minutes. And it does definitely have the potential to go further, PKs, but I'm ready for my prediction whenever you are, Joe. Is there anything else that we need to add before we get into that?
I think maybe just the one question to look at. It'll be interesting to see how Gareth Southgate, the English manager, lines up. He had the same identical starting 11 in the last two matches with similar results, 3-0. Again, though a Senegal and a Wales contest is not nearly the same as a French opponent. So that's one thing I'm looking to see how he sets up. It's going to be, again, the same starting 11, which, having had the success, I kind of would wonder if he'd go any other direction. So I think that's something to look forward to see what that starting lineup is. I think they'll play in a 1-4-3-3 as they had. And there's again, marquee matchup, lots of star power, very competitive match. I do lean towards an English side winning this one. I think they put themselves in a position carried over for maybe they'll play with a little bit of a chip on the shoulder from the Euros and them not finishing and winning that to go into this contest saying that this is it. We showed up here to win these type of games. And in a quarterfinal match, I see England winning 2-1.
Okay, interesting. All right. So before I tell and reveal my prediction, which I guess is already out there, I already showed the bracket, but before I just kind of repeat what I am predicting to happen, Joe, I'd like to get your perspective. How do you think England's going to kind of hold Mbappe, someone with that kind of caliber of talent? Are they going to hold him to maybe just one goal or maybe no goals? Like, what would be your strategy going into that?
I think early on, and the personnel is there, it's got to be a physical match. I think you go to it maybe textbook in a sense that one of the easiest ways or more convenient ways to deny technical opposition or opponents that possess a lot of technical attributes as well as physical athleticism, you match that with a physical game. When Mbappe gets the ball, this phase of the field, this phase of play, where they're going to let him know he's present. I think that's going to be part of it. I hope so, because I think that adds again to the competitive nature of the game. I think that's early and often it's Mbappe getting the message that these English boys came out to play, and they're not going to make it easy for him at all.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to go with my prediction here. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the predictions are pretty much split down the middle, so, flip of a coin here. But I just think France is such a aggressive and dominant team up top that I just feel like I have to go with them. So I'm going France winning this 2-1.
Okay, so a complete opposite between the two of us. Neither one of us are in agreement of the winner, and then even the result itself is going to be reversal. So it'll be exciting for the pitch pile. It'll be exciting for everybody else out there watching to see how this transpires and the result. Looking forward to it.
Thanks so much for listening to the podcast, everybody. We hope you enjoy our content. We can't wait for this upcoming match. Please like, subscribe, and keep pitching out there, everybody.
In a game, the round ball, round posts, anything can happen.